And howdy folks, this is TheSwiss, and today I'll be your guest host casting a replay sent to me by HyperONE. I hang out in HyperONE's Discord channel from time to time, and he was kind enough to send me this replay after I mentioned that it'd be fun to try my hand at casting one. So bear with me folks, as this is my first and probably only attempt at casting, but even as I stumble through it, I have confidence that HyperONE's game will be good enough to be a fun watch anyways. And right off the bat, we see HyperONE beginning with his typical aggressive opening by sending 2 workers down to harass his opponent. I don't think this is going to be a proxy or anything, or a bunker push. I think he's just going to walk right into Red's base and start being annoying. That's something HyperONE does in a lot of his games. Red behind, so Red's taking a gas, a depot, and a second gas. Yeah, this is a rather suspect build order from Red. He doesn't even have a barracks out yet, and we've already got 2 gases started. Blue does indeed walk right into Red's base and start double teaming this SCV. Red pulls his workers to try to defend it, although it looks like they're move commanded there, so Blue's going to get the worker kill anyways. So his these 2 SCVs just kind of watch their buddy get drilled to death. That can't be pleasant. They are going to try to take some revenge, and sure enough, they do get one of Blue's workers for him. So Blue's going to take his remaining worker and just head back home and get out of there. So overall, I think this harass was probably a little bit of a wash. Blue was able to get 1 worker kill, lost 1 worker of his own though, and there was a little bit of mining time lost on each side, so not much accomplished. That being said, Red is down 2 workers already, so I think that aggression probably caused Red to forget to queue up workers there for a moment. So let's see this. Behind this, at Red's base, looks like we're already starting a factory and we're getting a tech lab down on our barracks. We've saturated both gases, so a very gas-heavy build here. Back at Blue's base, we've also saturated 2 gases, so we're prioritizing gas over minerals at this point. We just have 1 barracks down here that is queued up to build a marine. Oh, and this returning SCV is going to come in here and kill two innocent cleaning robots. Now, I know that a lot of you folks out there may be saying, HyperONE, that was a bad move. You just wasted mining time and APM by killing those 2 robots that were not harming you at all. But that's where you're all wrong, folks. You see, it is critically important in StarCraft 2 to make sure your workers all feel like a part of the team. I'm sure that the workers that were up here, who were not selected to be part of the 2 SCV hit crew at the beginning of the game, we're starting to feel a little bit left out and wondering what their role was in this war, but HyperONE has now improved their morale by showing them that they too can see some action even while working away in the back of the base. Now in the meantime, here's 1 worker that definitely doesn't feel like he's left out, and he knows what his role in the team is. It's to build this proxy right here outside of Red's main base. Now from here, I know that HyperONE has been playing around with the Thor drop. So that's a potential. We may be seeing Thors come out of here, although the first thing that's going to pop out is a siege tank, and we do not have an armory anywhere. Yeah, no armory, so it looks like it's just going to be a tank drop. Now in Red's base, we already have 1 tank out. We're producing a starport, and we're going to lift it on, going to lift it onto the reactor here, and we're producing a second tank, and we have a Marauder already out. So Red should actually be in a pretty good position to defend any sort of tank drop from Blue. And sure enough, we are producing a medevac. I'm assuming we're going to pick it up here. Even with these tanks out from Red, Blue should be able to find a position where he can drop his tank and still be annoying, out of range of Red's tanks, and siege down the mineral line, and then when by the time Red's able to respond, he can just pick it right back up with the medevac. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to drop it out of range. Actually, Red's tanks aren't even sieged up yet. Blue's going to retreat into the corner out of range of Red siege tanks that have now sieged. He's going to 1 versus 1 this Marauder, which the tank will win that battle. And as it's picking away at some of these SCV, there's going to be a second tank that gets dropped. Unfortunately, there is now a Viking out for Red, so it's going to be able to shoo away that medevac, which means that it's probably a 1-way trip for these 2 siege tanks here. Yeah, they'll siege up, they'll get something done, they'll take out this gas that was taken so early, they'll do a little bit of damage to the depot and force a little bit of a worker pull for a few minutes. But that's really all that this harassment's going to do. Behind it, looks like HyperONE is going for yet more aggression. We have a medevac, Marines and a medevac, and we have a Liberator all queued up to go do some harassment all at the same time. Now the Vikings will easily take care of this Liberator. Oh, and there's another Viking that's actually going to... Oh, we just lost the full medevac. Only got 2 Marines out of that medevac before it went down, so ouch. HyperONE has been doing his best to keep his opponent busy, but so far there's not been a lot to show for it. He has only a very slim worker lead, but he's now down an army supply. One thing he does have, though, he has more scouting information than Red has. Red hasn't scouted at all this game, whereas Blue knows exactly everything that Red has been doing this entire game. He's even going to throw down a scan now, so he sees there's no second base that's being taken yet. Red's not looking to expand quite yet. Whereas Blue, actually, we're building a command center on the high ground, and we're taking a corner base, both. Blue is still pretty committed to this aggression. We've picked up 2 more siege tanks, and we're going to drop them out, this time out on the low ground, and use the medevac to get some vision. Unfortunately, these 2 Vikings should have no trouble pushing away the vision from the medevac. And yeah, Red's going to bring his tanks forward and siege down this position that Blue's trying to establish. So once again, I don't think that this is going to get anything done, other than maybe being a distraction for Red here. So with this position now being sieged from the high ground by Red, yeah, Blue's just going to have to pick up and get out of there. We're still, yeah, now we're producing some Vikings and a Cyclone down here in the proxy. But really, I think the Viking count is high enough that Blue's just not going to find any damage from it. Okay, Red is finally going to send 1 lonely Marine out to poke around the map a little bit and see what's going on. So far, the furthest we've ventured outside of our own base is right around here where those 3 SCVs chased down the harassing SCV earlier. And you know what? I spoke too soon. Red's actually going to turn his Marine right around at the same point that those SCVs hit earlier and walk right back into his base. I'm thinking we're going to call this Red Marine's name Samwise, because he gets right to the point where he's never been past before, and he says, this is it, if I take one more step, that'll be the furthest I've ever been from home. Except this time there's no Frodo with him to take his hand and pull him along a little further. So Sam just retreats right back into the base, and now he's going to plant some turnips in the Shire or something. In the meantime, Red has been working on trying to clean up this proxy over here, and he has a good enough Viking count and a nice position on his siege tanks. I think he should have no trouble shooing this proxy away, and so it's just going to go on back home at this point. Looks like we're going to see a little bit of a race between this siege tank and this Viking to see whether the SCV can repair the starport before the Viking can kill it. Looks like the hit points are going to be trending upward on there, so yeah, I think the starport should survive. Except we're bringing in some reinforcements, Red is. So no, that starport will go down. We're even sending in some siege tanks. They can't do anything in this air battle, but they can add some moral support from the ground and some encouragement. So they're just going to sit below and cheer, kind of like fans at a Quidditch match, I guess. Oh, but actually they do both siege up and double blast that one SCV that was repairing away pretty thoroughly. So one tidbit in StarCraft that I heard a long time ago is that siege tanks, because their attack animation is instant instead of a projectile that has to travel through the air, siege tanks can never overkill a target. But after watching 2 tanks move all the way from the main over here into the corner, just to siege up and double shoot an SCV, yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree, because that definitely feels like an overkill to me. But it does look like the factory's maybe going to escape. Red doesn't seem to be interested in chasing it down, so HyperONE's going to retreat the factory back into his base. He's taken 2 starports of his own at this point, and we have 1, 2, so we have 3 bases at this point, versus we also have 3 bases for the Red player. Red does have a fairly significant army lead at this point. He's a little bit behind in workers, but not much. But I'd kind of like to see him take his superior army and go push around the map a little bit, see what he can find, and certainly get some scouting information, because he still has no idea what Blue's doing back on his side of the map. Unfortunately, I don't think Red's that type of player. I think he seems to be more the type of player that's going to be content to sit back at home and tech up, and just play sort of a slow, turtley macro game. I think that's the type of player Red is looking to be. Which is very different from HyperONE. HyperONE has a very aggressive play style, as we've already seen so far. I do like here, Blue has taken both of these vision towers, so he's going to see if Red does push out. In fact, speak of the devil, Red is pushing out right now. Now, when I had envisioned Red pushing out with trying to assert some map control with the Vikings, I did not anticipate that they would walk halfway across the map. Now their legs do get tired, I guess, and they pick up and start flying the rest of the way, so that's more the way that I had envisioned it. Blue is tracking this pretty well, though, with his scans all the way across the map. He sees exactly what's coming, so he knows what's going down. In fact, it looks like he's pulled workers here out front to help defend this, although this doesn't appear to be enough army to try to push up the ramp anyways. And Red is just going to siege up outside of Blue's natural, keep him pinned in his base a little bit, but this is not really enough army to try to do a big push up. In fact, I think, yeah, so Red has actually left these 2 tanks behind. That's maybe not great. If we're trying to siege up this position up here, we have a slight army lead, but it's not a big enough lead to be able to leave units behind. We really need to have all of our power up front. I mean, these tanks might help in the case of like a counter drop or something, but Blue's just going to be focusing, I think, right now on trying to keep Red out of his base. So we need all the power forward, as much power forward as we can get, I think. I think both sides right now have a big enough tank count and a big enough Viking count. It's turned into a little bit of a staring match now. Whoever blinks first and moves out first is going to be the winner in this engagement. Although Red is going to be able to creep forward just a little bit and start sieging down some of these bunkers. So that's definitely worth doing. That'll be annoying for Blue to have to deal with, and he's going to lose part of his wall here as a result. Oh, no, this isn't good, though. No, we moved too far forward. It looks like Red was the player that blinked first, and he has lost all his siege tanks. And now I think this siege position is probably no longer going to work out for Red. He just needs to go on back home. Looks like Red actually has managed to sneak a medevac full of Marines over here. And another medevac full of Hellions. And they're both going to move in. These Marines up here they should be able to get the cancel on this base. Does he get it? Meanwhile, the Hellions are going to drop the main. And yeah, these 2 siege tanks that I was so certain needed to be up with Red's main army, they're going to very easily clean up these Hellions. So yeah, I guess I was wrong about that. Red knows a lot more about playing Terran than I do, apparently. So I guess I'm not going to be quitting my day job for casting anytime soon, because these siege tanks were very well positioned to defend that. Blue does get the cancel on this 3rd base, though, so that is nice. And in the meantime, Red sent his entire Viking fleet in and landed it, and has done some decent damage in Blue's base. I mean, he lost his entire Viking fleet for it. Not totally sure that was worth it, but at least he got some damage. He didn't lose his Vikings for free. But unfortunately, after that engagement, it does mean that Blue has taken the army lead now. He's up 12 army supply, and he's up 2 workers, so he's in a decent position now. And it looks like we're sending some Marines, just walking him across the map to try to do some damage on Red's corner base. Unfortunately, there's a tank and 3 Vikings here, so they're going to get nothing done. Yeah, he's just going to send his Marines right back home as soon as he sees that. Oh, except for this guy. This guy is feeling brave. He's maybe seen a few too many Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and he thought he could take this force all by himself, but he learned a very hard lesson there. So yeah, the surviving Marines are just going to sit back and hold tight, and it looks like maybe the game's going to stabilize and slow down just a minute as both sides take a moment to tech up. Red is rebuilding his Viking count. And we've also built a fusion core here, so yeah, we've got 3 battlecruisers screwed up on the same starport. We maybe need to add a tech lab to this one so we can split that up and produce a little quicker. In the meantime, Blue is going to move back out across the map and see if he can find some harassment with a little squad of 6 Vikings. We're going to start out by killing the Liberator that I think has been sieged up in this corner of the map since the very beginning of the game when it helped out in getting rid of that proxy. He is going to scan, see what's going on mostly in Red's main base. He'll get the cancel on this triangular 3rd, but unfortunately he's going to be punished for it because there is a battlecruiser out now and there's a superior Viking count for Red as well. So yeah, we're going to get 2 Vikings out, but they're very badly bruised. We've got one with 23 hit points and one with just 5 hit points remaining. So we did get, as I say, we did get the triangular 3rd canceled for our troubles, but we lost a lot of Vikings for that. One crucial piece of information that HyperONE did get from that, though, is he saw the battle cruiser. So Red has tipped his hand that he is going battle cruisers. So that does give Blue a few minutes to up his Viking count in order to deal with that. As for right now, though, Red's army supply, or I'm sorry, Blue's army supply, I mean, he's on equal supply with Red, but unfortunately his composition is not going to deal well against battlecruisers. We've got a lot of Hellions and a lot of tanks in our army right now. We really need we need Vikings really to be dealing with the battlecruisers. He is going to send his army in here and see if he can get the snipe on this third base. He should be able to, though. It's going to be Red's army is not in position, so it's going to be a while before it can respond. Blue's tank siege up and totally obliterate those 3 Vikings. Red is responding, but it's going to be a while before those battlecruisers can get there. So this base, well, we could have gotten the snipe in that base, but actually HyperONE is returning home. Maybe we're going to clear up this, this is a greedy build from Red. He was trying to take this this hidden corner base up here at the top, but Blue does find it and goes back and snipes it. Gets a cancel on it, rather. Red's army is now in position, though, so I don't think we're going to be able to go back in and do anything to this corner base. Yeah, he needs to just get out of there, because this is a superior army from Red. Looks like Blue is going to turn around and fight it out, though. He's going to focus down the battlecruisers with his Vikings, which is nice. And in the meantime, Red's Vikings are going to kill all of Blue's Vikings, or all but 2 of them. And they're going to land and clean up the tanks and the Thor at the same time. So, wow. Yeah, we're now at a 75 to 35 army lead for Red, and we're on basically even workers. Now, Red did leave his tanks over here, so they're picking away at their corner base for Red. But at the same time, Red has teleported a... Yep, he did. He's used up his teleport. So he's teleported a battlecruiser over here into the lower corner base for Blue. So both of them are getting some economic damage done. Looks like Blue got a little bit more economic damage done because he's up 10 workers now. But he is well down in army supply and in total supply. So this is a rather uncomfortable position to be in if you are Blue. However, Red has landed all his Vikings right now. And I believe, yeah, Blue's going to land his Vikings and clean this up pretty easily. And Red did not find a lot of damage for that. That was maybe a mistake from Red because Red's trying to go battlecruisers and Blue's has Vikings on the field. So really, Red needs to be protecting his Viking count. He wants Vikings on the field to help support his battlecruisers, and he just threw a lot away at that engagement right then. Now, he's still in a good spot. I mean, he's still up at almost twice the army supply that Blue has, and he's up 2 extra bases. Blue's on 3 bases. We have six bases for Red at the moment. So Red is actually in a very good spot in this game. It's going to take some really good engagements from Blue in order to come back and pull out the win, I think, at this point. Now, one thing that Blue is doing that Red is not, that I like, you know, Blue's being very annoying with these Vikings. He's flying them around the map looking for damage. He's finding exposed bases. Here he's going to get a lot of mules, maybe even be able to get the snipe on this command center as well. You know, Red has plenty of Vikings and battlecruisers that can fly in and then teleport out. He could be doing the same thing if he wanted to. I just don't think that's the type of player that Red is. And I think that in a game like this, that's a missed opportunity. He ought to be going around the map, sniping bases and teleporting back out, just like Blue's trying to do with his fleet of Vikings here. So Blue does get the base down here, and he gets out without taking any damage, so nicely done. That was a good snipe on this corner base. Red is immediately going to retake it, though. He is definitely a strong macro player. Although Blue has done so much damage, he's still down in workers at this point. Red is. But Red is still significantly up in army supply. So, I mean, he has a 28 supply lead over Blue. So this is still a rough position for Blue. That being said, he is taking these bases now, finally. So very shortly, they will be on an even base count at 6 bases each. But Red is also seeming to be doing a better job than Blue at actually producing workers. Right now, Red has 5 workers queued up versus only 3, I believe, for HyperONE. So, yeah, Red should be able to catch up the worker supply, and he already has the army supply lead. I think this is a very good position for Red, especially if Red is able to preserve this Viking count that he has and continue to increase his battle cruiser count. He should be well situated in this game. So it looks like we've taken a moment to repair up our Vikings back at Blue's base, and we're adding a few Widow Mines into the composition. We have a Thor again. We just have 2 siege tanks now. I like that actually a little bit better. The siege tanks aren't going to be very helpful in this game with the type of composition that Red seems to be trying to go for. Looks like Red is moving out. So is Blue. Yep, actually, we're on an intercept course. I'm not sure that they know it, although, yeah, Blue should know it because he has his vision tower, so Blue knows what's up. Red does not. And Blue's going to position these may be some critical Widow Mines if they get good hits on the Viking count. Unfortunately, no, they both target Marines instead of the Viking count, so that's unfortunate. So, though, Red's army split up very poorly there. Half of his army went down and continued their route onto the corner base, whereas a portion of it fought Blue's entire army and was just lost for almost nothing. Now Red, he is going to get the snipe on both corner bases, so that's nice, but he's going to lose his entire fleet of battlecruisers for it. And he's taken his Viking fleet and split it away from the battlecruisers. He managed to snipe a base for it, which is nice, but again, I really think you probably want to have your Vikings with your battlecruiser fleet for support. Yeah, he's Red just going to take his Vikings and get out of there, which I think is smart. I mean, we do still have an army supply lead, but most of that supply is actually still being built, so I mean, Red's still in a better position than Blue in this game, but that was not an ideal engagement for him, I think. But actually, folks, I just noticed something that I missed until now. You know what? HyperONE loves his nuke play. He's a bit of an artist with his nukes, actually, and it looks like we are going to bring out the radioactive paintbrush today. We have 3 ghost factories going down. We have cloak researching. Looks like we already have 1 nuke built here. Once again, Blue is going for a big push over here on this exposed base. Now Red's army is going to respond. Oh, I like this micro from HyperONE though. See how he's sort of kiting the battlecruisers. He's darting in, getting a shot. Yeah, and then darting back out. So doing this, he should be able to pick off all of these battlecruisers. So that was well done for HyperONE. Oh, Red's just going to decide if he's going to lose his battlecruisers anyways, he might as well teleport across the map and get some damage done, which makes sense. They will pick off quite a few SCVs here before Blue's Vikings can get back across the map. And it also, this also will give Red some scouting information. He's now going to see these 3 Ghost Academies, so he's going to know that nukes are going to be in the future. Now, Red should be set up pretty well for this. I mean, he's got missile turrets at most of his bases here. Oh, the first nuke is going to come down. Let's see. Let's watch his camera here. Yeah, you can see he's panning around looking for the nuke. I don't think he's going to find it, though. Nope, and in fact, he doesn't even move the Vikings, so that was a nice nuke call down there. That Ghost gets 8 kills, so very well done. And with that, HyperONE will take a very slight army supply lead. Unfortunately, he's now well down in workers. Those battlecruisers have been effective at cleaning up HyperONE's economy. So let's see. At this point in the game, I mean, Red's still in a very good position. And it looks like HyperONE is heading up to siege down yet again this exposed base up here at the top right corner. Red is sending his army to respond, and it looks like we probably do have enough Red army coming. I think they'll get the base kill here, but he's going to lose some army as a result. But at the same time, in the lower left, or in the lower right corner, we've got a nuke coming down. Scans are going down. He's looking for the nuke. He's going to find it. But we have a second nuke that's going to land. Yeah, I think this one's going to land on the triangular third. Oh, that was a big nuke. He didn't get workers pulled. Yeah, that ghost has 16 kills, so that was a big hit. in the meantime, these ghosts decide, you know what, we don't need nukes, we can just cloak and do it the old-fashioned way with our rifles here. They're going to get even more kills, so this is going to be a very efficient pair of ghosts here. Let's see, we've got 20 kills and... oh, 20 kills and 0 kills, actually, so I take that back. One of these guys clearly is getting all the glory out of this battle. Unfortunately, this poor ghost, he definitely knows what it feels like to be Robin when people only ever talk about Batman. That's got to give you a complex when you know, you fight alongside in the trenches with your buddy there, and he's the one that gets all the glory and all the medals and all the honor. This guy just tags along, I guess, and watches the action. So very, very, very unfortunate there. So let's see. Behind this, HyperONE has managed to put himself in a very good position those games with those couple of nuke kits and the snipe up here at the corner base. HyperONE is up in bases, workers, and army supply now, just by a little bit. I mean, Red certainly is not out of this game by any means, but these have been some very good nukes that have been. Oh, and we're going for yet another nuke on this corner base. If it falls, it's going to get quite a few mules, potentially a siege tank. And at the same time, we're going in for a fight at the front, too. Yep, the nuke will land. And another nuke is going down. And yet another nuke on this triangular third. Gosh, I'm sure HongWu at this point, he feels like a cat chasing a laser pointer looking for these red dots in this game. Unfortunately, most of the dots he has not been able to catch. So, yep, down here too. Oh my goodness, so many nukes going down. And at this point, HyperONE is in. He has an outstanding worker lead at this point. Army supply is still fairly even. HongWu still has plenty of minerals, but he's very low on gas. HyperONE, on the other hand, I mean, he has more minerals than he can spend right now. He almost needs more production facilities, I believe. Yeah, I believe at this point, with those nukes and a few Miss Micro events from Red, I believe this is now probably HyperONE's game to lose. He's taken his Viking and a couple Thors and siege tanks, and he's going to go mop up around the base a little bit. Now Red's going to respond. He's bringing his army down. You know, Red's army still probably can beat Blue's army, actually. Blue has more, I don't know, it's going to be a close battle. This should be the deciding battle of the game, I think. HyperONE has thrown down a nuke, though, and he's baited Red's army right into the middle of that nuke hit. And sure enough, yeah, I think that's probably going to be game. Yeah, Red's just going to tap out after that, and I can't say as I blame him there. So yeah, that was quite a game. HyperONE was behind a significant portion of this game after his early aggression failed to find much damage, but you know, there's just nothing quite like a few good nuke kits to bring you back into the game when you're behind. So I hope you enjoyed this cast. If you haven't already, I'd encourage you to like and subscribe to HyperONE's channel. You can find his YouTube channel by Googling Random HyperONE. That's his channel. That's one word strung together, though. Don't be like me, folks. Don't split Random HyperONE into 3 words, or else you'll end up accidentally subscribing to a channel run by some British girl, who I don't know much about, but I would assume she is probably both random and hyper. But I'm going to wave my Magic Jedi hand right now and tell you that's not the HyperONE you're looking for. You want Random HyperONE, all is one word. So go like and subscribe, and again, I hope you enjoyed this game. I certainly enjoyed casting it. So until next time, good game, well played.